it's something that we help do is encourage people to learn and grow and better themselves. And it's very possible that they do that and then go somewhere else.
Yeah, the only thing worse than training your employees and having them leave is not training them and having them stay. Henry Ford.
Henry Ford.
Welcome, everyone, to the Amazing Teams podcast, where we talk about all things that make work better. Today, I'm joined by Justin Tsatsa, Associate Director of Workplace Operations at Fetch. Justin joined Fetch in January of 2020, basically right before every company on earth had to figure out remote work overnight. And he spent the last 6 years helping the company grow from a tight-knit team to over 800 employees spread across offices and home offices nationwide. He thinks and works a lot on how to keep the culture real when you can't rely on hallway conversations. And he has great insights and lessons learned on what works and what doesn't. Justin, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Justin, tell me more about Fetch. How did you end up there and what do you guys do at Fetch?
Yeah, thank you for the introduction. A little bit about me. Additionally, I came from a corporate real estate firm job, and I was just looking to go from like an admin role to something a little bit more. So I saw a job opening at Fetch for Chicago office manager, decided to apply, got it, and that was right before the pandemic. So I was like, cool, do what you can to the office. And then all of a sudden the pandemic hit and I was like, this is fantastic. So when I started, we had Chicago and Madison as our main office hubs. We were fully in office, and then we became pretty much fully remote with office hubs, and we've grown our office hubs since then.
And tell me more about Fetch, and then from 170 people when you joined to over 800 in the last 6 years?
Yeah. So Fetch is a mobile app. Scan your receipts, get rewards. We play certain games on our app with our app partners. You can get points for the games that you play as well. We have a plugin for web browser, so whenever you shop online, you can get points, and you turn all those points in for gift cards. So it's as simple as that. I promise you that there's no catch to it.
And it sounds like during the pandemic, people were spending a lot of time on their phones, right?
Absolutely.
And probably what helped balloon the company into what it is today and continue to grow.
Yeah. And, you would buy stuff online because you weren't doing anything else and turn those receipts and then get gift cards and buy more things. We love to see it.
So when you literally 2 months after you joined the company, you're like, okay, now I haven't even had a chance to meet everyone, but now I have to be behind a screen. Were you in charge of creating engagement opportunities and helping people feel connected, or was that someone else's role?
It was me and one other person who was in charge of our Madison office and our manager. And it was basically just like, all right, let's try to figure this out, I guess. Yes. How do we stay connected? How do we kind of build that engagement? And that's kind of what my role shifted into a little bit in terms of that. And it was, what games are out there? What can we do besides happy hours, all that fun stuff? Because we've done that too. So
what did you start with? I'm sure you've tried a billion things. What are all the things you tried?
Yeah. We did the main ones. We did happy hours. We did virtual coffee chats. We tried a co-working thing where basically you would just open your Zoom and people could come in there and work at the same time. We started to learn that employees were getting burnt out from Zoom fatigue, from Slack fatigue. And here we were trying to throw more on top of that too, of okay, yeah, take some time off from the work you're doing and come chat with employees like your other employees on Zoom still. There wasn't any structure. It was just grab a coffee, grab a glass of wine, whatever, and just come and talk. And by that point of the day, everyone was like, I don't want to do this. So it became a matter of how do we tailor that into something that's more meaningful and a little bit more impactful. It wasn't about the quantity of things that we offered. It was the quality of things that we offered. So now we've put our resources and we actually participate in the Chicago Pride Parade. Mm-hmm. So things like that would make it a little bit more impactful versus just doing some coffee chats and stuff here or there. That was a very long-winded roundabout.
No, you're good. That makes perfect sense. What does the new normal look like? What do you guys do daily, monthly, quarterly, annually to kind of provide these engagement opportunities and team building opportunities to people?
Yeah, it still kind of varies. It's still an ongoing learning process for us too on what's working, what's not. But we have a monthly town hall that everybody is expected to attend. And also from that, though, we have one of our remote specialists who does a town hall trivia. So you kind of have to like pay attention throughout town hall, and then at the end of it, she'll ask a couple questions, and then people will chime in with what the answers are. So like little things to keep people participated and engaged.
What do they
in
get? What do they get for getting the answers there?
It totally varies. You could get a gift card, tacos, obviously. Obviously. And then sometimes we'll send out like actual little treats or something there. And then other things that we're doing are we do in-office happy hours. We tried to mimic our in-office happy hours by just hosting a virtual happy hour, but we found that you need a little bit of structure to it. You don't need structure when you're in the office. People naturally mingle. Just yesterday we had our happy hour. People got a board game and just started playing a board game. It's difficult when you're trying to mimic that on Zoom. So that became one of our challenges that we learned early on too, like I said, is to not mimic what we're doing in the office. Virtual, it's okay that it's different than what we're doing in the office. We may still offer something around the same time, but we need to know that it's not going to be the same experience that you would get in the office. And that's okay.
Do people get together in person? Like, do you have a company offsite every year?
Great
or
question.
do people get together, like, hey, you get together with your department or your team and you have budget for it? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so we do offer team meetups. We haven't done a full company meetup now that we're at 800, but it's something that we would love to do. So who knows what the future may hold there. But as far as teams going, we encourage teams to meet up as frequently as they need with a specific outcome or business purpose obviously tied for it. We've also learned too that like if you're getting together in person, hey, that's not the time to do slide deck after slide deck after slide deck. Like, yeah, you do that remote. This is the time to encourage collaboration, brainstorming, small groups, different activities, team building things that you can't necessarily do virtually or won't get the same effect doing virtually. So to answer your question, yes, we do offer a lot of opportunities for our teams to get together in some of our office hubs.
I know you're putting together, for lack of a better word, because I don't know what you're going to call it, but like something like a in-person meeting playbook, like how to get the most out of meetings. Because it sounds like, I mean, there's a lot of meetups going on and you and your teammates cannot be there at every single one, helping the organizer and facilitator, making sure it goes well. Besides what you just mentioned, what else goes or is going to go in that playbook that you're like, hey, if you're creating an in-person meetup, here are the essentials, like probably coffee to start with.
Yeah, it's everything you can think of. You know, we're trying to put together kind of like what a rough agenda could look like for people too, like content, have a break, build in a break. People need to know when the breaks are. Have the breaks be a little bit longer than 5 minutes. So if people need to check Slacks, emails, things that people just don't necessarily think about. You know, it's everything from like, how do you want the rooms set up? You know, do you need food catered? How many people are coming in? Do you have external speakers? And we encourage external speakers or in-person speakers. So that way the people don't get together and are watching someone on a Zoom call. It's everything from, can we help you with activities to do, team building things, restaurants to go to, hotels to book, travel, all of that stuff is just kind of put into one so that it's like a one-stop place. Hey, we want to do a meetup. Where do I start? Oh, it's right here. Everything's spelled out for what I need. It's just kind of like checkbox, go through the list.
How are you getting that to people? Like the execution side, like intranet, where can people find these resources? I'm like, I imagine, you know, that can also be hard. Is it distribution?
Oh, absolutely. Distribution, communication, you know, there's so many different channels, and that's one of our fun challenges as well, is trying to find like a central source of truth for all of our information to live in. We do have a people portal that employees know to go to that has information on travel and things like that. So once we get this finalized, hopefully it'll be a little bit more interactive that can live on our people portal. So it'll be a little bit more of a click your way through it type of thing. Other thing is we do our manager forums. So hopefully during that time too, we can take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, explain what we're trying to accomplish with this meetup guide. And that way we can start having communication go top down, and managers can communicate it to teams and everything as well. So trying to find various different ways that we can get the communication channels all filled.
And I'm sure you'll still get a question every so often, a DM in Slack saying, hey, Justin, where's that thing that you talked about?
But you know what? At the same time, like a little bit of job security, of like people still need me. You know what? People are still going to ask me questions. Fantastic. I will put together as much information as I can, but I will still answer your questions.
Well, and it's good that they ask. I'm sure a lot of people will just organize a meetup and their team is gonna leave exhausted, and then they'll be like, "Ah, I should have looked at that guide." So if they're asking ahead of time, that's always a good sign.
Right. I'll also say too, going back to what we wanted to put on that, one big thing after it is feedback. So there's going to be like a survey that will help to facilitate. So that way managers, once it's over, they can continue on with the work that they need to do. And we can help facilitate the survey so that we can get appropriate feedback. We can measure things. We can get some specific metrics, outcomes, and everything to just continue to improve.
How big is the team of like workplace operations, employee engagement, remote operations? Like how many people are you working with on these efforts?
We've got Madison, Birmingham, Chicago, hopefully New York, and then our remote. So 6.
Gotcha.
And myself, 7, and our director, 8.
So each of you are supporting a different geography, remote, Chicago, Madison, and whatnot.
Yes, but very much collaborative because
Yep.
it's all jumping in and helping as necessary.
Well, and you don't want to have a different philosophy for your Chicago office than remote, right? In terms of
Exactly.
like how you talk to people. What has one thing that has changed about your remote operations as you've grown? Like, are there things that you used to do that just don't work anymore and that you had to change?
Yeah, Jira used to pretty much be like our entire thing. Like that used to be where we'd have all of our office information. It would be where we had our handbook and everything like that. And then we built out our people portal, which transferred a lot of that information. That came with a learning curve for people as well. And then our people portal has just evolved so much as well over the time in terms of figuring out what's the best way to put things, what just makes sense. Like we have so much information on there too. And even trying to build out like a search, even with AI, trying to build out search functions so people can easily find information is still a little challenging. So we put together like different toolkits, which are basically just like little tables of content of like, okay, I have questions about benefits. Here's the benefits section, but I also need to know, employment verification or something. And there would be like a direct link on how to go to that too. So helping it be a little bit more self-explanatory. I will say Slack has released the Slack bot, which has been a lot helpful or really helpful for people because they can just go in there and search it and it'll pull all the times people have asked the same question and it will show you where the information is.
Besides the town hall, is there anything that you mandated? Or was everything
No.
voluntary? Okay.
Everything is always voluntary.
Is there like a philosophy your Fetch holds about voluntary versus mandated?
I don't know if there's like a specific policy around mandates, but it also just goes back to like our pillar of trust. And, we trust that employees are doing their best work. They're making the right decisions in terms of their time. But no philosophy that's really like, you have to attend this or,
No.
your manager will get deducted or something like that. I don't know. It's just not something I've never heard in terms of like, it's always a question, right? Of like, can we mandate? Do we have a policy around this? We're slowly starting to do a little bit more, policies around like certain types of trainings, obviously, but like in terms of different things that are more of the engagement side of things, no, nothing mandated.
Well, and when you and I prepared for this, you said one thing that really stood out, which is, hey, we, trust and like we treat people, we hire adults and we treat people like adults. So like to mandate or police things is just not coherent with that belief of like people are adults and we trust you to do the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I would hope that you would do the right thing. And if not, then that's a different conversation. But
Exactly. Since you've grown to over 800 people, what surprised you about how the culture held up from when you joined?
I think the energy is still there. Like Fetch still moves very quickly and people still are like really on board with our product. Everyone loves Fetch. Everyone gets excited when new merch drops. I think I love just seeing the enthusiasm when people walk into the office for like our little Fetch touches that we have there. And I think that energy carries out to home as well, because we do our best to set employees up for success when working from home. Even as something as exciting as like a sticker you get in the mail, or even just like our HeyTaco thing. We've had to grow in terms of how many tacos people you get because people are just giving them out so much because our teams have grown so many times. So little things like that have just been great in terms of just the excitement and enthusiasm around the company itself.
Besides like the growth and, you guys doing well, what else do you think has helped maintain that energy?
Our CEO is fantastic, and he actually like cares about employees, and you can feel that like sincerity and generosity in our town halls and everything. So I think he's a big part of it. I think we've hired amazing people that really know how to connect with one another, and I don't know, just really help bring that excitement for this product that has grown so much in such a short amount of time that you can't help just to like hear the story, or at least I can't hear the story of Fetch and just be kind of jazzed by it and be like, what a cool like growth opportunity and story that Fetch has. So I don't know. I think that's just a big part of the energy, is the employees wanting to take pride in our product.
And what you guys stand for and how you guys work, right? It's just like that's
Yeah,
your CEO
yeah.
being awesome and like being authentic. Like people can feel that, right? You can't
And
create a
not putting
policy.
in those mandates and
Exactly.
everything like that.
It's
Yeah,
like the authenticity people can feel through a Zoom call or just how everyone goes about their day.
absolutely.
What do you think, or what have you learned is the fastest way to lose a great employee in a remote setup?
I think there's always bound to just be new opportunities that people want to try. And it's very possible that you may grow and learn so much. You could learn something and want to go a completely different path, or are ready to move on to just the next role. And there may not be a role open for you to move into. So you just go and take an opportunity elsewhere. I think that's it in terms of the biggest thing, is just, it's something that we help do is encourage people to learn and grow and better themselves. And it's very possible that they do that and then go somewhere else.
Yeah, the only thing worse than training your employees and having them leave is not training them and having them stay. Henry Ford.
Because
In a sense, like Henry. You're not training them and now they're staying and like they're not progressing, they're not providing more value, they're not getting better at their roles. It's like your company's not getting better. So like, do you really not want to train them so they're not, hireable elsewhere? Like, yeah, not necessarily, right?
Yeah, but I think if you train and invest in your employees too, they're going to still give you their best work during the times that they're there, and they'll stay, not stay, continue to grow at Fetch or elsewhere. I don't know. I think it just goes back to that, how we trust our employees and we care so much about employees that we want you to do what's best for you, and we'll give you all the resources that we have at our company, and then hope that you do what you need to do.
Justin, if you were talking to someone who is, let's say like some 150, 200 person company, and they're just starting to think about workplace engagement, remote operations, what would you tell them to start with first or think about first, now that you have the experience of having helped scale remote operations to 800 people?
I would say to just not be afraid to try and experiment things. Like we wouldn't know what worked for us if we didn't go through this huge long list of things that didn't work or that people may not have attended. So I think just figuring out what works for your company. It took us a long time to kind of figure out what employees responded well to, and it just came down to like the content that we put out and how impactful and meaningful the event is, and not the amount that we're trying to do. That it's okay if participation is low. It gives you a place to start and to grow up in. So yeah, I think going in and knowing what you want to achieve and what you're trying to do, if it's just employee connection, okay, how can we do the best employee connection we can in this one event, and then go from there. So I think boiling it down to it would just be, just try it. Just experiment. You'll see. It'll fail or it'll take off. Who knows?
When you communicate something to a few hundred people, I'm sure all of us feel a little bit, I'm sure I presume you felt this way too. Like, oh, I'm about to create this event, and what if no one shows up? Like, none of us, we don't want people to not show up to whatever we do. Like, no one wants to throw a party and have no one come. What advice would you give people to overcome that? I will give it a story that we just had happen this past week. Is
again, we're a company of 800 plus employees. We did our virtual happy hour to coincide at the same time as our in-office happy hours. 4 people showed up to the virtual one, but those 4 people had such meaningful conversations and really got to know the other people because it wasn't employees that they usually talk to. So listen, to me, that's still a win. Like, yes, we had 4 people show up, but those 4 people just created a stronger connection than they wouldn't have if they didn't go. So and now we know, like, okay, 4 people, how do we continue to spread the word? How do we make this a little bit more impactful? Was it the time of day? You know, things that we still continue to play around with. What works this month isn't going to work next month. So who knows? But yeah, even if there's a company of 200, you're afraid no one's going to show up. Even if it's you and one other person, you can give that person like the best time that they have there.
I like that story. What are you working on next? Like, what are you and your team working on next? What are the next challenges, initiatives, things that you have brewing?
Yeah, we are still really working on putting together our connection with intention, which is trying to get the best out of our in-person meetups. So we're putting together that sort of playbook. We're building kind of an enablement strategy is what the working title is on it, but it really goes through and gives us like kind of the data behind remote operations and also just our employee connection and how we can continue to allow employees to do their best work. How do we continue to set them up for success? So yeah, figuring out what next looks like, what being kind of the best remote first company looks like, and how we can continue to just evolve and continue to track and grow and figure out what we need to do.
Are there companies that you think have it figured out, at least from what you can tell, that you kind of secretly, follow, learn from, read about?
I feel like some companies have it figured out for them and it is working for them, but it is something like, I was just at the conference that we were at, and there were things that people said and I was like, oh yeah, we've tried that, and it was a win for them, but I was like, it didn't work for us. There's companies that are doing company-wide meetups or doing onboarding in person, which is working for them, and we haven't tried that, so maybe we'll try that next. So things that we're still trying to research and find. I wouldn't say that any company necessarily has like found a end all be all to remote operations, but I think some companies are definitely doing what is working or doing well for their own companies. And I love hearing those stories and seeing if it's something we've tried or something we can try.
That makes sense, because it's kind of like businesses, right? Like, let's say a marketing approach that might work for Fetch might absolutely not work for Starbucks, right? Or might not work for Nike. Like, same with remote operations. It truly depends on your business, on locations, on people, on what the culture is like. So you can't just take one for one and be like, oh, they've tried a virtual happy hour, therefore it's going to work for us. It's like, maybe not, right? I think it also, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think timing also matters too. What works this year might not work 3 years from now, and vice versa. Maybe 100%. Something doesn't work today, but in 3 years, you're like, hey, this actually, people are loving it and we should try it. So it sounds like even the old tricks that you've tried, recycling through them, not a bad idea.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's fun to see, like I said, we've talked a lot about like virtual happy hours, but we have stuff that has stayed around. And like I said, one of it's the bingo cards that we do for wellness and things where people can like accomplish something on their own and then go back into a Slack channel or something to talk about, I think is really helpful too. We've done book clubs and things like that, just different ways that people are already kind of doing something. So how can we just kind of bring it into
like share it with your colleagues? Yeah. And I think your point of async is what I'm also hearing about a lot, because as you said, you can't take in-person office hour and just mimic it virtually and expect it to work the same way. I feel like you have to think about, what are we trying to accomplish with the in-person office hour?
Exactly.
Okay, how do we get to the same goal? And maybe the mechanism is letter writing. I don't know, just spitballing a very off-the-cuff ideas, but it's like, what are we trying to accomplish? Not just mimic the mechanism in any situation. I hope it works.
Yeah, we didn't do any sort of like big, holiday winter party or anything where the whole company got together, but one thing that we did, and I love, was we created like a Fetch recipe book. We put it together in an ebook and shared it, and people were really fun in submitting different recipes, different stories behind it. And it was something that you didn't have to be on a Zoom call for, but it was still a way to pass around and share your story connection in different ways. So I loved that one. That one was so much fun.
I feel like that would be a great printed book as well for like new hires or, a holiday gift or like employee appreciation day gift or something like that. Like that's something you would keep on your bookshelf forever.
And it's something that we can continue to add to too if we're doing like a virtual ebook or something too, or just add another chapter. So yeah, that one was really fun.
Justin, before we wrap up, as you know, with HeyTaco, you have 5 tacos. I know you guys have 8, but for the purpose of this exercise, you have 5 tacos to give out today. You have 10. Holy cow. That's a lot of tacos. Go work at Fetch if you want more tacos.
I know, right?
You have 5 tacos. Who would you like to give them to and why? And it can be anyone. It doesn't have to be a Fetch. It can be anyone.
Oh, wow. Anyone. First person I was going to give it to is my boss, Cheryl, at my corporate real estate firm job that I was at. Speaking of like training people and, having them do their best work and then having it be okay that they leave. I was there for 5 years. And I think from the very minute I started, she just invested like time and energy in shaping me. Even when I moved to Fetch, I still had like some questions on things, and I would call her up and be like, hey, remember when we did this there? How did I do that here? And she was like, oh, that's a fun challenge. Good luck. No, I'm kidding. But we would just like talk about it. And it's those people that just kind of stay in your life forever. So her for sure. I would definitely say my colleague and employee, Betsy, who, she's awesome. When it comes to our remote culture, we have a remote channel that she mans. It's everywhere from like our brain teasers and things, just little things that, again, you don't need to do any meetings for, but she runs that. Anytime there's like a crisis that happens near someone, bad weather, run out of power, whatever it is, she'll reach out personally and see if they're okay. So she's just an awesome person to be in that role. Let's see, who else? I'm gonna go with my BFF, Kita, who gets to hear me talk about all things work, all things life. So that's 3. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna go with Wes, CEO of Fetch. He created an awesome company that I love to work at. He's created an awesome app that people love and truly loves rewarding employees and people. So definitely shout out to Wes there. He can have a taco. All right, we're going to go cheesy with this last one. We're going to give a taco to HeyTaco because it has become such a huge part of our culture. People love doing peer-to-peer recognition with tacos. We use them as incentives for everything. It's fill out a survey, get some tacos. Again, show up to a meeting. You can maybe get some tacos. Bingo cards, get tacos. Birthdays, Fetch anniversaries, you name it, you get tacos. So we love HeyTaco.
Well, if it was in the app, HeyTaco would politely tell you that you're not allowed to give a taco to HeyTaco. But on behalf of HeyTaco here, I accept your taco. So thank you.
Perfect. Give it to Una.
Well, Justin, thank you so much for joining it. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. It's been great.
Thanks for listening. One of the important things about building a team is gratitude. If you're looking to add more gratitude into your team, check out HeyTaco.com. We are clearly biased, but it really does work. Use the code AMAZINGTEAMS to receive 15% off for the first 3 months of your subscription.